So next we're going to look at what is science. And I'm going to use colored pencils to kind of color in some stuff. And then I'm also going to use a teacher's favorite, the flares. So if you have, a pencil you want to use, pens you want to use, you can even use the markers. The space isn't that big, but you're welcome to use those if you want. Also, I'm using colored pencils, but if you want to use the crayons, you can. It's really yours to decorate and think about and all of that kind of stuff. I might have to move the screen down as I go to the different parts just so you can see what I'm writing better or what I'm doing a little more. The first thing I'm going to do is color in what is science. And you can use whatever colors you like. So just take a little moment to color it in. Nothing like a good brand new colored pencil. It doesn't have to be a perfect color either. I mean, you can just kind of shade in. It doesn't have to be like a total complete fill in the color type of thing. So don't feel like you have to spend forever and a day making it perfect. And then use your own colors. I'm going to use my own colors. Just kind of doing my thing. I don't know what the temperature's been like for you, but for me, every time I come in here, it seems to be very, very warm. You can see I'm not coloring in the letters perfectly. Just kind of getting the idea. Science. So think about what is science. If you had to think about what science is, what would you kind of think? There's lots of different things. I can tell you it isn't explosions. I know, it seems like it should be, but again, I like my job. So we're not going to make anything explode, per se. And chemistry really isn't explosions. I mean, you might get lucky every once in a while and have something pop or something like that, making noise, maybe overflow, but it's supposed to. It's not like boom kind of thing. Believe me, I've taken a lot of chemistry classes and really none of it exploded. It was pretty amazing. So science is, if I had to write down what science is, I would probably say that science is asking and answering questions about the natural world. And again, you use a pen or a pencil or anything like that. Asking and answering questions about the natural world. Now, when we think in terms of that asking and answering questions about the natural world, I mean, it could be doing some kind of investigation. It could be doing some type of research. There's lots of different ways that, we can ask and answer these questions. The next thing there, I think science is important. going to ask that you put down why you think science is important. I'm going to kind of color around on that area while you do that. But I maybe talk to somebody near you, just quietly think level 1 or level 2 whisper. Haven't had to do my levels for a while. And I'm just going to put some color around it while you think about, this is an odd color. Put some color around it. Just kind of bang. This is what I think. This is why I think science is important. So science is important. Science is important for lots of different reasons. I mean, one, you just want to become an informed citizen. You want to understand why things, for example, the priming the pump that I talked about earlier. I mean, you need to know things like that. What does that mean? So it could help you become more active in your community. Depending on what you're doing, you may need more or less of it, but I think it's still good, even if it's not your favorite subject in the world, to be informed. It helps you to make better decisions as to why things work the way they work, or how to check out if things work. But just kind of think about something that you think makes science important and just write that down. I'm not going to write down my answer. It doesn't have to be perfect either. Branches of science. There are lots of different branches of science. Lots and lots and lots and lots of them. And I'm just going to write down 3. I like to be a little more specific. You know, can you think of different ones? If we could be more general and say like physical, life, earth, those are branches of science. And then beneath that, we could put the more specific things. I think I'm going to put some more specific things. You're in the 8th grade. Let's put some more specific things. So one of them that I would put in is chemistry. Oh, I ran out of room. Let's put in genetics. I'll probably run out of room on this one too, but that's okay. Genetics. And then maybe one that's a little more earthy. Trying to think of which one I want to put in there. Trying to think of one that might not be so long, but there's a lot of long ones. Well, let's put climatology. Climatology. All of those are things that we'll talk about at some point this year. I'm going to put a little color. I just think I'm going to put some color over the words. So that's what I like about these. We'll do a lot of little doodle notes, just kind of when you put the color over it and you're thinking about it, it really does kind of help you to remember. It's one of those brain things that everybody needs. So then we're going to look over here at how does science answer the questions about the world around us? So there's a couple different ways. One is what we call scientific inquiry or scientific method. I'll put scientific method. Scientific method. And then beneath it in parentheses, I'll put inquiry. It's that whole, I'm asking questions kind of thing. And then another way is the engineering design process. And that doesn't mean just, building robots, because we don't have the robots. That's the robotics teacher. It means the whole act of like looking at something, building something, kind of designing something, and then trying to make it better. So that's our engineering design process. So there's a couple different ways that science answers the questions that we have: scientific method and the engineering design process. Then we have law versus theory. Hopefully you have kind of an idea of some laws. I know you studied a few last year. And theories. Sure you studied a little bit of that too. And we'll do some of that this year too. So law. I'll use blue. Law is a rule that describes a pattern. And you can put in nature if you can fit it. I write kind of big sometimes. I'm going to say, we'll say Newton's laws. Hopefully you remember how many there are of those. And then we have a theory. With the theory, it's an explanation. Explanation based on knowledge. I run out of room a lot. From many observations. I might just put from many experiments. Ooh, really ran out of space. It can be from many observations. I could actually abbreviate that. And experiments or investigations. So move in a little closer on that one. See it a little more. There we go. Hit my autofocus. What? Fun. Okie dokie. So examples of that: theory of plate tectonics. So if you're thinking about this with the theory and law, a law is going to tell us what happens. It's the what. The theory is the why. So it's our what and a why. I'm going to put a little more color there too. So law's not going to tell you why it happens. It's just going to tell you what happens. And the theory is going to tell you why it happens, but not always everything that happens for it to be that. And then we have the last one there. Can science answer all questions? Hopefully you know the answer to that, which is no. No, it can't answer all of our questions, but there are, a lot of natural questions that we can answer using science, but some examples of things that can't be answered. I'll just put can't answer, and then we'll say, maybe ran out of colors. Questions that deal with beliefs, values, opinions, and need to move it. Questions that deal with beliefs, values, opinions, and feelings. Science isn't going to be able to answer all of those types of things. Now you can put a little bit more color if you want. And according to our table of contents, this is going to go on page 14. So it's our last little thing on page 14. Okay. And I think I'm just going to use the little dots of glue. Remember, you don't have to put a lot. A dot is a lot. I'll pick it up a little so you can kind of see. Now, again, you don't want to cover the whole thing. That'd be icky. You just want to put some dots on. So I like to make like an X pattern or something like that, just so you can put enough on there. You don't want to cover it completely, and you don't want to put so much that when you go to smooth it down, it like goes out all the sides. So we're just going to put a few dots. And here we go. Have it smoothed down. It's on page 14. See, there's my 14. And then we can just close it up. And when we close it up, then you're going to have time to let it just stay nice and flat in there. So, thank you.